Hello, everybody, and welcome to, this week, not anime legends, although this is technically the 13th episode of season 2. This is political legends, and today is election day here in America, and so what we are going to be talking about is some of the issues, some of the thoughts on both sides, and what needs to be done to possibly make this country a bit better than it is, or make this country the best it can be. And to help me do that, we have my very good friend who's been on here before. His name on YouTube is Sosapotence 300. He's really cool, super into like Baki the Grappler. He reviews reviews manga chapters. He does early reviews of movies, so you can check that out if you're interested in seeing a movie, things like that. And he is also a professional MMA fighter, which is super cool. Anyways, there's a link in the description to check out his channel, Sosapotence 300. Make sure to go there and hit the, of course, hit subscribe, but hit the like button and make sure to hit the bell and put it on all, so you get all the notifications from him for all the stuff that he's into. I guarantee it, if you like my stuff, you are going to like his stuff. So without further ado, I am going to bring on... he is known as the toughest man in the world, Andrew Sosa.
Yo, what's up? I appreciate the intro, my man. How are you?
Just a second, so I can hear you. I'm gonna have to put on my headphones.
Okay.
Okay.
Yo, what's up, my man? How you doing? I appreciate the intro.
No problem, dude. I'm so excited to have you on.
Yes, I am excited too. And just for everyone else, we're going to be having a debate on politics, but we are going to try to do our best to show everyone the right way to do it, because he and I are both on different sides.
Yep.
And we're not going to ridicule each other. We're not going to judge each other. We're going to have a nice, wholesome debate. And even if we don't agree in the end, that's fine. As long as we can show everybody that we can have disagreements and differences and still be good friends, because that's how it should be.
Well, yeah. And I definitely wanted to point that out, that like, even though we're on different sides of the spectrum, me and Sosa here are like very tight friends. We help each other on our YouTube channels all the time.
Yes, sir. I appreciate your help for that too.
Likewise.
Yeah, I'll be promoting this stream hardcore later on.
Nice. Thank you so much. If I could, can I just go through my sponsorships really fast?
Yeah, go for it, man. Go for it.
Okay. Just as we talk about every time at the beginning, the AfroX channel does have a Patreon. You can find that at www.patreon.com/AfroX. And on there, you will find a page that says AfroX is creating anime-based content, which I certainly am. And you can go there and donate, and the options are increments of $5, $10, $30, $50, or $100 a month, and you will get different rewards based on those different tiers. Starting off at $5, you're going to get your name shown at the end of every edited video. At the $10 a month level, you're going to get your name shown and announced at the end of every edited video. At the $30 a month level, you're going to get the rewards of the previous tiers, plus you will get a link to my secret Discord where you can talk to me, give me ideas. Your ideas are going to be the first ones that I go to. And you will also get to see every edited video 1 day early. That is, unless a complication comes up and I can't post it 1 day early. At the $50 a month level, you get all the rewards of the previous tiers, Plus, you'll get your name shown and announced in fancy lettering with fully edited audio, and you will get an AfroX official t-shirt and a handwritten thank you note from me with the t-shirt. At the $100 a month level, you'll get all the rewards of the previous tiers, plus you will get a link to join in on every live stream that I do, and on that live stream, you will be able to promote or bump your channel for at least 5 minutes. But yeah, that is all of the tiers of the donations that you can do on Patreon. So moving on, we do have merch. As I said, there is an official AfroX t-shirt. You can find that at www.teespring.com/store/afro-x-2. There is a link in the description of all of my edited videos. And there you can find the official AfroX t-shirt, which on the front has the AfroX logo, and on the back has the AfroX slogan, which is, of course, what is it, Sosa?
I didn't say anything, bro.
No, but what is the AfroX slogan?
You have a bunch of different ones. I don't want to give the wrong answer.
Okay. The slogan is, of course, stay legendary.
Oh, sorry. Okay, that one.
Yeah.
You have a few different lines that you give on a regular basis, at least three or four of them. So my bad. I'm sorry.
I have in the past. Yeah. Okay. So moving on, then we have the AfroX TikTok, which you can find on the app or the website that is AfroX_YT. On there, I do a lot of different things. If there's been any series that I've really done, I've started to do new soda flavor reviews because I love to try new soda flavors. Just as a warning, nobody should try the Christmas flavor for Mountain Dew. It's called Fruit Quake. It tastes absolutely awful. So yeah. Definitely I would recommend against it. But yeah, other than that, I have a Twitter, which is @TheRealAfroX, and a Facebook, which is the AfroX page. I also have a group on there called the Official AfroX Fan Club, and if you join that, you'll be added to a group chat where I tell people if I can't upload a video early or if I'm taking a vacation, which that segues into what I was about to say next, which was next week I will be taking a vacation. I won't be making an edited video for next Tuesday. And next week I will not be doing live streams. It's just for my own mental health. For like the past 3 weeks, I've been I felt like my work is chasing me because I've been trying to catch up, and my work that's supposed to get done in 1 week has been rolling over into the next week, and I just need to take a break and reset everything so I can get back on my regular schedule. So next week I will be on hiatus.
Enjoy your vacay, man.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Checking out the chat really quick. We have Trix the Anime Hater in here. He does the $50 a month donation, which super thankful for. Says, yo, and how's everyone doing? I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, it's rather gloomy here in Minnesota right now. It's raining. But besides that, things are good. How about you, Sosa?
I'm good, my man. I appreciate you asking. It's been rainy over here in Texas, but yeah, different.
Man, there's a whole front rolling through.
Yeah, and I'm excited about this blood moon coming up. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know if you knew this was a blood moon. It's supposed to happen today. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Some of the people on the right, they're mostly saying it jokingly, but they're saying that the blood moon is happening on the exact same day as the big tidal wave that is projected to happen for the Republicans, the red wave. That they say that this is almost God ordained. I think that's just an interesting kind of joke right there.
Interesting. Um. Oh, what was I gonna say? Oh, I was gonna say. Did you want to go ahead and plug your channel for a minute?
Yeah, I mean, you already did it before. I was listening
Yeah.
when everyone did it. But yeah, I'm Sosapotence 300. Yeah, my link will be in the description. And that's basically it. Check it out. If you like it, sub, hit the bell and all, like, comment, share, all that good stuff. But yeah, got lots of good stuff. I got an early screening review coming out for Black Panther Wakanda Forever #2 coming tomorrow. So, definitely worth your time if you want to get the lowdown on everything.
Ooh, that sounds super exciting because I'm super pumped for the second Black Panther movie.
Heck yeah, I've heard some interesting things about it. What seems to be the consensus among everybody is that there is a good amount of needless little bit of nonchalantness and even maybe some cringe, but the good parts are super, super, super good. And I agree with that. So
Yeah.
yeah. So
Well, and of course, I think everyone can agree that honoring Chadwick Boseman is
which
such
they
an
do.
important thing. Yeah.
They do.
Good, good. Trickster says the Blood Moon will be hype, and I
Yes.
certainly hope it will be.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We are at about 11 and a half minutes in, so we're going to start on the actual meat and potatoes of the discussion. While we are discussing, let me know in the comments what anime and manga you watched and read this week. And after our discussion, then I will let you know about mine. Just starting off, and I do want to say it'll take a second to set up, but if we need to show a video or something, I can share a YouTube to hear.
Yeah, that'll be really good because we want to be able to look at the evidence in real time. There's nothing better than whenever you're having a debate. I hate it whenever they reference things and then they're just like, "Oh, I didn't say that," and then it can never be checked. I'm like, no, it's not the right way to do it.
Right. Because we definitely want to make sure that we're getting information from good verified sources and stuff like that. So just for some context, I'm gonna go ahead and say that most of my life and up until like recently, just because of how I grew up in a very, very Christian home, and but it is a Baptist Christian home that kind of like didn't really look well on like Catholics and stuff like that. But how I grew up was because of being in that environment. I grew up as a very staunch Democrat, and what I was taught growing up, true or not, and I could be wrong, but what I was taught was well, the main adage I was always taught was that the Republicans do evil stuff, and the Democrats do nothing to stop them from doing evil stuff. And that's what I was taught, was that the right is bad, the Republicans are bad, they don't care about anybody. They're a bunch of rich fat cats that just want to push down the poor people of America. And I was always taught that the Democrats, the left side, were the people who were supporting black people and going against global warming and doing all this stuff. And so, especially based on like things that I've heard recently, and the way that some of my relatives have acted recently and stuff, I am starting to see more that maybe the left isn't as pure as I thought, and that the right isn't as like demonically evil as I had been told that they were. So that is my background and where I came from. So if you would go ahead, Sosa, talk about where your beliefs come from.
I was raised as Jehovah's Witness, believe it or not, and they're completely apolitical. They're completely neutral in all matters, but they're hardcore Christians. They're not Amish, but they're very hardcore Christians, and I've actually kind of come back to that religion. and I definitely still have some things to work on, but that was what I was raised in, and politics helped me come back just a little bit. And I know that's probably not the best thing for a Jehovah's Witness to say, but it's true. Um, but for background, I used to be just like you. The first we met when I was completely apolitical. I didn't know anything about anything whenever it came to politics. We met in Death Battle, a Facebook group with hundreds of thousands of people, and we were debating Dragon Ball Z and stuff. And then I started to spend more time on Facebook.
Simpler times.
Oh man, simpler times, good days. But I would spend more time on Facebook because of that. And then the first introduction to politics that I ever got into was just accidentally clicking on a police brutality video. And so that's actually something that the right has actually come a long way on, is the police problem that we have within the USA. But I got very left wing, just like you. I didn't really know the difference between the left and the right back then. I didn't know the difference between Republicans and Democrats. But I eventually did learn. But I was dang near an Antifa member. I kid you not. I was invited to join the group, and I almost did. But just convenience, along with not wanting to risk anything that would hurt my custody case with my daughter, kept me out of it. But then after a little while, years and years, the first thing that ever happened to me, the first little red pill that ever happened, is I remember whenever I saw some of those videos, and it was maybe 2 or 3 years later, and the same Black Lives Matter pages, the same police brutality pages, they would post the same videos that I had seen from 3 years ago, and they wouldn't post it with a disclaimer. They would post it as if it was something new that just happened. And then I would comment, I'd be like, hey, this happened like years ago. Y'all are acting like this is a new thing. Y'all need to clarify this. What happened in the video is completely wrong. Don't get me wrong, but this isn't true. This isn't current. And then they started all calling me a right-wing, fascist, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, bro, I've done nothing but support your page and share everything that y'all have for years. But that was my first little red pill that started me going down the rabbit hole. And then I started looking at Ben Shapiro debates when he took on the Black Lives Matter people and stuff. And ever since then, I slowly become more red-pilled. But I've always been a little bit more of a nuanced person. Like, I still believe that we need police reform. I still believe in, different things. Like, I'm not the type of person who wants to eliminate college debt, but I'm like, we need to stop telling people that college is the best thing that you can do in the world before you get stacked with debt. There's different things that the right is not all right on, and I go against them all the time. But I definitely lean more right as time comes along. So that being said, I think we'll have a better conversation because I actually understand better where you come from, at least politically, not necessarily when it comes to, race issues, but I understand the mentality of the left. I've been there. I've done that. So, it helps.
Mm-hmm. That's
another thing too, that the left unfortunately has a problem in, and you can look this up for yourself. I'm sure you probably already will know this and probably won't disagree with me on this but the left has a problem thinking that Republicans are bad, and the Republicans think that the left is just uninformed. That's the difference between the two political parties. One thinks that the other is evil and the other one thinks that the other is bad. And one of the reasons that is because the left, you can Google this for yourself too. I'm sure you probably already concede this. The left doesn't look at right-wing sources, whereas the right looks at both sources, oftentimes to be able to either make fun of the other side or to at least determine what they think the middle ground is, what the truth most likely is between the two things.
Yeah, I will say, I kind of agree with that because I personally need to get better about looking at sources and trying to verify them and stuff like that, because I will say a lot of my information, and honestly where I hear about the news 90% of the time, is through like shows like Stephen Colbert and stuff like that, which even I can say is definitely a left biased view on politics. And there's even been times that I've been watching Stephen Colbert and stuff, and I've disagreed with what he said, or I've said that he's taken a joke too far, and things like that. But yeah, I really need to do better at looking into my sources. I do want to add on there too that there's the left mentality and there's the right mentality, but there's also like a third party here, which is social, or which is public opinion, and it's also interesting to think about what public opinion and what society as a whole thinks of both sides.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. That's why the swing states are the most important states and the most heavily campaigned in, because half the country, almost a half country automatically votes blue almost every time. Half the country almost always votes right, Republican every single time. Those swing states like Pennsylvania, Arizona, and states like that, that's why, they vary so much.
Yeah. So what you're saying there is like there's some states that are like they're just going to be blue or they're just going to be red, but the swing states are really who like the super PAC ads are for, the ones where like people are undecided.
Yeah, although I mean, I'm not making any hardcore predictions because I think there's going to be a lot of fuzziness around literally today. I don't think we're going to be able to change anyone's vote by having this conversation today, but today is, I think we might get a huge, the swing states won't be swings at all. It'll be all red, and maybe even New York will go red.
That would certainly be something if New York went red.
It hasn't happened in a while, but it did happen with Reagan back in the early 80s. So
yeah. I was going to say the other day, and the next topic I wanted to get to, but the other day we were talking about how the bipartisan system needs to be balanced. That each side has to have like checks and balances and stuff, and mostly that's because both sides have some good ideas, but there needs to be another side to check when one of them has a bad idea, and that's just to make sure that no one side is enacting all of their ideas onto the way that the country is done. And to be honest, the thing that we really came to the other day when we were discussing it was that it's a system that can work, but because it is enacted by humans and humans are flawed creatures, that there is going to be some mistakes. Like there can be a better system, but it is never going to be a perfect system.
Exactly. No, I completely agree with you. And it also depends on who is leading what and who has what role within this. For further context for the conversation, Uriah and I were discussing in our messages, which led us to do this because we figured this would just be able to get the debate done more quickly and also help, give everyone some extra knowledge too. But
really quick for a second. I know you've been calling me Uriah and we're friends, and so that's a normal thing, but I was wondering if you could call me by Afro, because I don't usually go by Uriah on here.
Oh, okay, Afro. Yeah. I'll do my best.
Okay, thank you.
You disagree with me on this, at least somewhat, and I understand that. That's fine, but my take personally is that the left has overstepped their bounds. They are in positions of power that they shouldn't be at this moment. The left is necessary to a functioning republic and society. But if it's not put within the right confines, then it goes awry. And I believe that that's what's happening nowadays. The ultimate proof is Creepy Joe and the way that he has run America. He had the easiest presidency ever. The only thing he had to do was just reopen jobs. That's all he had to do. And he would have had the best numbers of his life. But less than 2 years later, we're in this abomination of a country now, compared to where we used to be. Because, and I know you disagree with this, but I feel that the left is not supposed to hold positions of power in politics like the presidency. They like I believe that the left is supposed to be is essentially at its most the two main things that I believe make up the left is the more compassionate side, aka the little bit more feminine side, and that it is worried about groups. It is group mentality, and it just doesn't work the way it's being handled so far. If you look at the left, if you look at a female's role in a family, the old school way at least, they were always the heads of the household while the father was at work, oftentimes. They're the ones that influence society the most. They're the ones who have the direct line to the kids and are raising them the most out of anybody. So they actually have more societal power. The left, the more feminine, mothers, etc., they have more power than anybody. But where they exercise that power is key to how successful society is going to be or not.
And thank you so much for bringing that up. I did want to say that we discussed the other day that one of the things is that you had said that the left is the inventors. They come up with ideas and stuff, but they're not very good at enacting those ideas. And what the right is absolutely pro at is the action, is getting things done. And I think in the public eye, what's the phrasing I was using before? The public consciousness. In the public consciousness, that the left seems to not really be able to get anything done, and but then we see then we see like the right and stuff, and the right seems to be able to organize very well, and get huge rallies together, and be able to very much enact change. Like when the people on the right are angry, you know that they are angry because
Yeah.
they're actively doing something about it. And I hate to bring up January 6th because it's a bit of a stain on our nation's history, but
Go for it, man. I have no problem talking about January 6th.
Yeah.
And I'm not one of those deniers either, like some people are. They're just like, oh, January 6th is nothing. I'm not the type of person to say that either.
Yeah. So for those of you who may not know, on January 6th, there was a bunch of rioters who went up to the Capitol and tried to stormed the Capitol, attacked a lot of the offices of a lot of people there, and very much just ransacked and did some really bad stuff in there in general. And so what was it? It's very much seen as that these insurrectionists is what they're being called, but these insurrectionists were a lot of them, at least in clips that have been seen, have said while they were there, they were saying that like they seem to be very, very much right. They and I hate to bring up Trump because he's such a hot topic issue, but there are clips of people saying, hey, Trump wanted us to do this, call up Trump, stuff like that. And And so what you can see in that is that these people that seem very, very right, this is the right getting things done. They are getting organized, they are getting things done, and you can tell that they're angry. And in the public consciousness, the left seems very passive. The left is less prone to like go to big violent protests. Now, I do want to point out that like that like Black Lives Matter and stuff, and there have been like
they do, but on lesser
yeah,
scales.
yeah, rioters and looters, but yes, just like you said, on a lesser scale.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so what this all kind of came to, what we were talking about the other day, was that the left is so the left is kind of coming up with ideas and stuff like that, and the right is good at enacting ideas. And
right, and the right isn't good at coming up with ideas.
Yeah. And
so you get the most far right group possible in America is the Amish. They don't do nothing different.
Yeah.
There's no progress with them at all. It's very always the same. Yeah.
And so what we came to was that, well, if one person is having the ideas and the other person can enact those ideas, why don't we come together and have everybody just do what they are good at, and then it works. And the thing is that if the left is coming up with the ideas, sometimes those ideas aren't going to be that good of ideas, and that's why we need the right to be there and also be like, hey, that's not a great idea, let's try to do something else. And I mean, honestly, that's really what Congress is. And
the left is supposed to be there to make sure that the minorities and that the people that are not as prevalent, not as in the open public forum, are represented.
Yeah. But yeah, and that's pretty much what Congress is right now, is just both sides being like, hey, some of your ideas we don't really agree with. We don't think those are the right ideas. Let's try to make a compromise on this. Let's try to make this work. But what has happened in the public eye that is so damaging is that it's become less of a thing of, hey, that's not a good idea, let's make something that works. And it's become a thing of, that's not a good idea, so you should stop having ideas. And definitely one thing that we both really agreed on was there's a group of people called RINOs, RINO, which stands for Republican in Name Only. And
they're the freaking worst.
Yeah, these are the people like Mitch McConnell, Mitt Romney, all these actual fat cat billionaire, well, not Mitch McConnell, not a billionaire, but they have a lot of money and they're white. And the
crony capitalists.
Yeah. And Mitch McConnell has definitely like gone on record and said, we will shut down everything that a leftist president is trying to do. And that's where it gets very damaging, because instead of saying, like, some of your ideas we don't agree with, he's just saying, because you are on the left, we're not going to listen to any of your ideas. Your ideas get thrown out the window and you don't get a voice. And so definitely a big thing that I want to point out is that, and I think both sides can agree on this, is we need to get guys like Mitch McConnell out of Congress, because they are actively hurting the bipartisanship that we need to be having.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. John McCain and everything, he's dead, but he was another example of RINO. Get them all at the F out, like Lisa Murkowski, everybody, get them out. Why don't we cover, before we cover a whole bunch of topics, let's nail down one, and let's see if we can come to an agreement. All right? I don't know if you even disagree with this, but January 6th, let's start there.
Yep.
All right. Did you know, genuine question, that the FBI, who I don't know if you'll contest this either, but is extremely Democrat infested, has already come out in their own report months ago saying that there was no insurrection or no evidence of one. We can Google the article and put it up on the screen if you want.
Yeah. No, I mean, okay. Well, let's start with what specifically is the definition of the word insurrection, because if
trying to overthrow the government,
trying to overthrow the government, okay, so the FBI came. So what you're saying is the FBI came out saying that there was no insurrection.
No one else has been charged with insurrection or anything surrounding that, too. By the way,
that's interesting to hear, because Stephen Colbert on his show, and I know he's biased, but Stephen Colbert on his show has an entire section devoted to stories about the people at January 6th getting arrested for being there.
Yeah, they were arrested for being there, and it was a riot. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like trying to downplay it too much or anything. It was a riot.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between a riot and an insurrection.
Okay. If I could bring up something, there were a lot of people at there, and this has been shown in video clips on the news and stuff like that, yelling and chanting "Hang Mike Pence." Mike Pence being a part of the government at the time, if a desire to kill a political official or a public official like that is not trying to overthrow the government, then I ask you, what is trying to overthrow the government? If someone in North Korea said "Hang Kim Jong-il," that would immediately be seen as them trying to overthrow that government.
Sure, and and just let me state for the record, no one should ever talk about hanging Mike Pence or any other political figure. No one should talk about hanging anyone.
Yeah.
But now, it wasn't to overthrow the election. It wasn't to overturn the results of the election. What the implication behind saying Mike Pence is that if you look it up, it's in the Constitution. The penalty for treason is death by hanging, literally death. So when they said that they wanted to hang Mike Pence, what they were saying is that Mike Pence had committed treason and therefore deserved to die.
Okay. How did Mike Pence commit treason? By simply disagreeing with the president and not doing what he said?
Yeah, and I'm not saying that this is right. I don't agree with this. But the people who are saying hang Mike Pence believe that Mike Pence knowingly put in fraudulent electoral votes into the system to have Joe Biden win.
Why would he do that? He was the vice president for the Republican side.
Right. Some people say it's because he's a rhino. Some people say it's because he genuinely believed that Joe Biden won. And my personal opinion is that he didn't want to rock the boat too much.
That would suggest that Mike Pence had been plotting against Trump the entire time, like ever since the beginning of him running for office.
Very well could. And it's not too far out there, in my opinion. Now, overall, I still think Mike Pence is a sort of a good guy. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, although I'm on a nice edge. But yeah, basically what I think Mike Pence essentially did is he said, okay, I can go with the truth because I believe it was not, the election was not, all fair, and we can get into that too if you want to. Mm-hmm. But what Mike Pence essentially did is made a calculation. He said, okay, I can either stand up for this truth and it's going to rip apart the country. No one will ever believe in our electoral system again. No one will ever believe in our elections again. There's going to be riots. There's going to be a civil war. That's literally what would have happened if Mike Pence had done that. He said, do I want to go through all that, even if it's true, or do I just want to let Trump get out and sort of maintain the peace? And he chose the peace.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, there is much worse stuff that could have been done.
Oh yeah, it could have gotten so bad. And just for everyone else, I told Afro in this in two, like, it was a riot. But there's two nuances to this. One is against my side, so I'm gonna start out trying to prove I'm as unbiased as possible. Is that it was a warning. It wasn't an insurrection, but it was a warning. It was, hey, y'all do this again, we really will do an insurrection. That it was a warning. So they didn't try to do it that time, but it could lead up to that is the point. The other part is, now that I've admitted that, is that Black Lives Matter. There's a couple of them that have been filmed on video, and it's a matter of court records. We can look up them, watch the video right now if you want to. They were there aggravating and provoking people. The FBI has already come out in the Senate sessions multiple times and said that they had people. Now they refuse to say how many. They refuse to say who, but the FBI and they were instigating violence there, and there were plants there. And Nancy Pelosi recently came out, had a video come out about her that was presented by the January 6th committee, headed up by Liz Cheney, another one of those rhinos. And she told the press that she had planned for this to happen. She had planned for Trump to be arrested for trespassing on Capitol grounds. She was hoping that he was going to do that and have rioters and provocateurs there so that they could paint it as an insurrection. She had a whole camera crew there, and she denied, you can look this up, we'll put it on the screen right now. She denied having the extra security at the White House, at the congressional home.
This is Liz Cheney you're talking about, or Nancy Pelosi?
No, Nancy Pelosi did this.
Yeah.
She literally stopped extra security from being there at the White House because she was anticipating January 6th happening. There was a cabal formed with the FBI to make sure that we were all painted as insurrectionists to provoke this riot that happened. Now, let me just also clarify, it's on every individual's responsibility. It doesn't matter if someone else provokes you into doing something. It doesn't matter at all, and you must pay the consequences if you went around destroying things and assaulting police officers, anything. But the FBI, via Nancy Pelosi and the whole cabal, was there to provoke tensions and make a riot happen.
It's interesting that you say that, specifically because recently in the news, and I don't know why they didn't post clips of this closer to January 6th and why it's coming out now. That is kind of interesting. But recently, clips came out of Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer like bunkering inside the Capitol, inside the back rooms and stuff like that, and her talking to people on the phone. And asking, and I wanted to bring this up too, asking, why isn't the president doing anything about this? Why isn't anything happening? Chuck Schumer is kind of, I hate to say this, but he's kind of being useless and freaking out there and stuff. But Pelosi is like trying to talk to people, trying to figure all this out. If she was anticipating this riot and wanting to paint the right as being the insurrectionists, then why would she be panicking and hiding if she knew this was going to happen? If it was planned, or
probably
was
for the
she
cameras,
just putting
for
on
the
an
show.
act?
And it was also at that time the riot was already happening. So she was saying, "Why isn't Trump doing this? Why isn't Trump doing this?" It wasn't a genuine question of hers. She knew why. She knew everything that was going on. She was saying it for the cameras as if to say, "Well, why isn't Trump doing anything? If he doesn't want this to happen, why didn't he do it? Why didn't he stop it?" That's what she was trying to do.
Okay. There were a couple of just small things that I wanted to bring up and that I wanted to ask you about, just based on news stories that I had heard. And so there was a thing of like, one of the big things that they're really coming at Trump for was, why didn't Trump do anything during the January 6th insurrection? There was that. And then there was a report of Trump wanting to go and be with the people who were rioting at the Capitol, but a Secret Service agent told him no and was trying to bring him home, and Trump attacked a Secret Service agent inside his car.
Oh yeah. Now, not the whole story,
Yeah.
but that very last part that you mentioned up has already been refuted by the Secret Service themselves. We can pull up the article. They have already said that that's not true. Now, it is true that
that did seem a little preposterous.
Right. Yeah, it's a little preposterous. But now what is true is that Trump had planned on going to the White House and, quote, to peacefully protest. He said that over and over. He always put emphasis on the peaceful because he knew he would be taken out of context. The reason that Trump didn't do very much about the insurrection, so to speak, is because he was doing a speech like a mile away while that was happening. And it wasn't until after his speech that he found out about that, and then he made the video telling everybody to go home. And he did say, y'all are, good people, y'all are patriots, but you can't do this, you can't be violent, y'all have to go home. That's why he didn't do anything about it right there. The other people were acting separately. Now, if they think Trump wanted them to do that, that's a whole nother thing. But
that was another big thing is that they had said that his speech incited the people to march on the Capitol and have them riot.
Right, which would be impossible timeline-wise because it was happening during his speech. They didn't walk a mile after hearing the beginning of his speech and then go over and do the insurrection on the Capitol while Trump is still doing his speech. Like, that's their defense. It doesn't make any sense, but it's a good defense in court saying, hey, Trump wanted me to do it. But yeah, the timelines don't match up.
Yes. One thing that confuses me there, though, is why at the insurrection, though, were there people saying we're doing this for Trump, call up Trump?
I'll be perfectly, I don't deny that there probably is some videos with that. I haven't seen any, but let's just go with the premise that this is for Trump. They do, like I said before, it is for Trump. It is a warning. It is a shot across the bow, so to speak, the bow. But to say that this is for Trump equates, this is so Trump, gets in even though Biden won. Those two don't connect. Those two aren't, they're not the same.
Okay. I did want to ask, so why do you think the rioters were rioting, or what was the biggest motivation behind it? Was it because of the whole thing with them believing that that there was election fraud and that there was faulty machines and votes weren't getting counted correctly in general?
Yeah. That was part of it. Like I said, it was mainly meant to be a warning. I don't think they were there to overturn the results of anything. But the motivation was that they wanted their voices to be heard, because 60 different lawsuits have been filed contesting the election results, and not one of them, not a single solitary one, even by Trump's own Supreme Court, not a single one was ever heard. They were all dismissed based on standing, which I don't know how you can dismiss it based on standing, but what the judges were basically doing is saying, I don't want no part of this. Not one case was ever heard. So, and I'm not
that most of them were thrown out, but the perspective from the left, and especially from Colbert and stuff, was that they were thrown out because everyone laughed at them because they thought they were too ridiculous.
Right, and that's where the fake news part comes in. And fake news is a funny thing, and Dems are really good at this. And you know what, the right has done it too. So don't get me wrong, but what they're really good at is sometimes they will just blatantly lie. Sometimes, but what they'll do is what most often they do is tell half truths.
Or spin it from a different perspective.
Right. Is it true that 60 different court cases were dismissed contesting the election and, contesting fraud in the election, and they were all dismissed? Yes, that's true. But what is the fake news? The fake news is whenever they say they were thrown out because they were BS. No, not one court ever heard a shred of evidence. Not one court ever heard the merits of the cases. They all refused to listen to them and dismissed them before they even ever heard in court. So whenever that happens, when the Supreme Court literally refused to hear any of the cases, they said, we're not going to be heard any other way. We have to make our voices heard to make sure that this never happens again. So they weren't trying to overturn the results, but they were trying to say, hey, don't F around and find out.
Yeah. And I will say, I think one thing that we're coming to here is that January 6th was bad, but we should keep in mind that that things could have been worse and things could get a lot worse if
they certainly can be. I sincerely believe that if the Supreme Court had heard the Texas case, because the state of Texas with Senator Ted Cruz filed a lawsuit on behalf of 13 other states that could be considered swing states, the election, and they refused to hear it. The Supreme Court refused to hear it because they didn't want to come off as biased or anything. They were essentially scared. But if they had even heard that case, and let's say they ruled against Trump, because they probably would have, because they were scared. Let's say they heard the case and still ruled against Trump. I bet you January 6th would have never happened because at least their voices would have been heard.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, it could have been a lot worse. Like somebody could have planted a bomb in the Capitol, or somebody could have brought a gun, or stuff like that. I mean, that is one thing I didn't really hear about anybody like doing actual shooting inside the Capitol or doing bomb threats or anything.
Right, exactly. That goes against the whole insurrection thing too. It was a riot, but were they even planning to riot? I don't think they were. Were they planning to, were they planning to scare some people? Yeah, but were they even planning to riot? No.
It wasn't that
the right, the most Second Amendment gun shooting, never take my guns. People didn't bring a single gun to the insurrection? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and that's another thing too, that
organized or thought out.
Yeah, exactly. And that's another thing is too, at the beginning of it, and most news sites have backed off this. Now, Creepy Joe hasn't, but most news sites have actually backed off this talking point. They tried to say that 5 Capitol police officers were killed. Nope, not one police officer or not one person on the left was killed through the entire riot. The only person who was killed was Ashley Babbitt, an unarmed veteran who was there, crawling through the window. Not one police officer was killed. They tried to claim that one was bashed over with a fire hydrant, but nope, none of them.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there was violence, don't get me wrong, against police officers, but none were lethal, not even close.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, we're on a very bright note right now, and I think that it would be a great point to stop and kind of like wrap things up, especially since we're at the 53-minute mark, almost at an hour here. Do you think that's okay, or did you want to mention something else?
You mean you want to end the stream now?
Yeah, I usually do. I usually do the stream for an hour.
Oh, man, I think we should keep going. I want to hash this whole thing out. I wanted to have a Joe Rogan podcast with you.
Okay. Could we do a part 2 later on?
Let's do a part 2. We'll keep this in. We covered. If you have any more thoughts on January 6th, we'll cover them later. But we'll have covered that, and then we'll move on to other topics.
And because we very much skimmed over some of the harder stuff and the stuff that we don't really agree on. But yeah, if we do a part 2, it's gonna be hard. There's gonna be some tough moments.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Then whenever we're done with the whole debate, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put together a video of all our streams and put in the highlights and then plug your channel off the highlight video. That's probably what I'll end up doing.
Sweet. I do want to say just before the end here that right after this, I'm actually gonna go vote. I definitely encourage everyone who watches this, who sees this, to go vote, because having your voice heard is super, super important, no matter which side you vote for. And I think the mentality we need to keep is that no matter what side you're on, what side you vote for, is that we all want to. The goal is to make the country better and make the way the country is run better, and so wherever you stand, whichever way you think that is going to get accomplished, that is how you should vote.
Yeah, we should probably, like, at another point in time, whenever you're free, we'll just do a Zoom call and record it or something like that. We don't even have to do a live stream, but we'll put together a good video based on that. That way we can have people not have to listen to all the filler and everything like that too, and they can get the meat and potatoes of our debate. And I think that'll help your channel out more.
For sure. Well, yeah, that was all I had. Once again, this is Sosapotence 300. Check out his channel. He does reviews of Baki the Grappler, anime and manga. He does early reviews of movies.
Black Panther coming tomorrow.
Like yes, Black Panther coming tomorrow. Super excited for that. But yes, check him out on his channel. Make sure to hit like and hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to get all of the notifications from him. Keep YouTubing, YouTubers. Don't fight the fro, and always remember to stay legendary.
Legendary. I remembered that one.
Yes.
I'll let you later, my man. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, you too.
All right, bye.
Bye.